The world was different. The land was not divided by borders, nor ruled by kings or presidents. There were no cities, no phones, no clocks, just sky, soil, beasts, and breath. This was the world our ancestors woke up to every single day. The people we call cavemen. We imagine them as beasts in human skin-runting, club-carrying, aimless. But that's not the truth. In fact, the truth is far more fascinating. What did cavemen actually do all day? Let's begin at sunrise. As the first light cracked across the horizon, the tribe began to stir. There were no beds, no alarm clocks. They awoke to the sound of birds, rustling leaves, maybe distant howls of wolves or the soft breath of another human sleeping close for warmth. Sleep was precious, but never guaranteed. The cold, predators, or hunger could disrupt the night at any moment. The first instinct of every morning: safety. Eyes scanned the surroundings for signs. Was there something out there? A predator? Or perhaps another human? Not all humans were friendly. In fact, most were not. Tribes were small, maybe 15 to 40 people. Outside that circle, everyone was a potential threat. But if the coast was clear, the next goal was nourishment. The question of the morning wasn't, what should I wear, or what should I check on my phone? It was simply, will we eat today? Women and older children would prepare for foraging. Baskets were made of twisted vines, cloths of dried hide. They would head into the nearby forests and grasslands, eyes sharp for edible roots, berries, nuts, and herbs. They didn't just gather at random. They knew which plants healed, which poisoned, which attracted animals. This knowledge wasn't written, it was taught by repetition, failure, and sometimes death. Men prepared for the hunt. They would gather spears, sharpen stones, bows if they had learned to make them. Hunting wasn't everyday work. It was risky, exhausting, and often fruitless. It was a gamble that could end in injury or worse. But the reward was meat, fur, bone, and pride. The young, the elderly, the injured, they had their roles too. They watched over the fire, protected the very young, repaired tools, or crafted clothing. This wasn't a society of freeloaders. Everyone had value. Or they were left behind. Harsh, but true. As the sun climbed, the tribe scattered outward in all directions, sometimes for miles. Foragers whispered among themselves, checking under leaves, digging carefully. Every berry plucked with knowledge. Was it ripe? Was it dangerous? Could it feed the children? Hunters moved silently, observing the tracks, the wind. Sometimes they stalked animals for hours before throwing a single spear, and sometimes they'd return home with nothing but exhaustion and bruises. But when the hunt succeeded, it was cause for celebration. Meanwhile, life in the camp continued. Children mimicked adults playing with sticks, pretending to hunt or gather. But this was learning, not just play. Every moment prepared them for the future. A child that didn't learn quickly might not survive their first solo hunt. By midday, the tribe slowly returned. Some carried roots and wild greens. Others carried nothing. And on special days, the hunters returned dragging the weight of a kill. A deer, a boar, or, if fortune smiled, something bigger. The smell of blood was both a blessing and a danger. It attracted other predators. Time was limited. They didn't waste. Every part of the animal had a purpose: meat to eat, bones for tools, hide for clothing, sinew for string, teeth for decoration or trade. They worked fast. Tools were stone, but hands were skilled. Within hours, the animal was transformed from prey to provision. Then came the eating. They didn't have meals the way we do, no schedules. When food was ready, they ate, often together, often in silence. Food was survival, not pleasure. But there was connection, passing pieces to elders. Children fed first. This was family in its most primal form. After food, the day wasn't done. Some would head to water sources to clean hides, wash wounds, or simply drink. Others would begin preparing for the night, gathering wood, checking shelters, tending to the fire. The fire was life. It kept them warm. It scared away predators. It was sacred. As the sky dimmed and the air grew cold, they gathered. This was their version of television. A circle of faces, glowing orange in the flicker of flames. And they told stories. Stories of hunts, of ancestors, of spirits in the stars. Some of it was truth. Some was legend. But all of it mattered. These stories taught values, bravery, caution, wisdom. This is how culture began. Around fires, under stars, with the mouths of old men and women who remembered more than they could show. Then came the night watch. Sleep wasn't peaceful. There was always a pair of eyes awake. A rotating role, given to the most alert. They watched the shadows, listened to the wind. Fire crackled. Wolves howled in the distance. The tribe slept, and the cycle waited to begin again. But there was more to these days. Sometimes the men fought each other. Not always with weapons, sometimes with looks, with dominance. Conflict wasn't rare. Territory, food, mates, or pride could ignite tension. Some fights ended in bruises. Some ended in death. Power meant survival. There were moments of joy, too. Children's laughter. A new birth. The taste of honey found in a hidden tree. Even in their brutal world, they found happiness in survival, in connection, in discovery. Their lives were not as we imagine. They were not dumb. They were engineers of survival, carving stone blades that could skin an animal with precision, making traps that fooled even the cleverest beasts, building homes from sticks and hides with insulation against the wind. They understood the land. They respected it and feared it. They used plants to heal wounds. They buried their dead with flowers or tools. They painted walls with ochre, charcoal, and blood. Not for fun, but to remember, to explain, to believe. Religion, or something like it, was born in their minds. A storm wasn't just weather, it was a god's anger. A dream wasn't just fantasy, it was a message. Their world was alive with meaning. And in all this, we see ourselves. Because what did they really do all day? They survived. They worked. They protected. They feared. They hoped. They created. They connected. Strip away your phone, your clothes, your house, your job. What remains is the core of your humanity. And that core hasn't changed in thousands of years. We wake, we seek, we struggle, we love, we fear, we die. The difference? We have walls, they had stars, we have machines. They had instincts, we have noise, they had silence. But deep down, we are still them, still cavemen, still trying to make it through the day. And maybe, just maybe, they were more human than we are.